Outstanding. There we go. We're ready to go. Good morning again. This is Pat Carter. I'm the technical trainer here at IC Realtime. I handle all the public and the private webinars that we host. If you need to reach me to schedule your own private webinar, feel free to reach me at patrick@icrealtime.com. Again, I handle everything from sales to technical and everything in between. This is part of our regular monthly series. They are held on Wednesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Hi there. Welcome. I'm honored today to be joined by the great Rob Henry, who's part of our technical sales staff, and he is responsible primarily for our wireless solutions. He is an Ubiquiti certified technician. He's been working with the product for a very long time. Could you mute me if you could? I'm getting a little feedback here. Thank you. He is responsible for our Ubiquiti wireless solutions, everything from sales to support. And welcome, Rob Henry.
Good morning. Welcome, guys, and possibly gals. Would like to introduce you to a new product, basically to our dealers that we are put together here at IC Realtime. I work directly with the dealers. You guys call, we sit down and introduce you to this technology. If you haven't used it before, I'll hold your hand. I'll take you through the whole process, and I think once you guys start working with this stuff, you're going to love it. So
awesome. Thank you, Rob. We are going to be working off of PowerPoint today. I rarely use those, but today I really want to make sure we cover all the important information with the Ubiquiti wireless solution. This is actually part of a series. If you joined me on Wednesday, we learned a little bit about networking and connectivity. If you weren't able to join us for that, please check our website for the pre-recorded webinar for network and connectivity. Let's move this out of the way. We'll pull up the PowerPoint at some point. Here we go. And there we go. And in the slideshow from the beginning. Hopefully you guys can all see everything here. And Rob's going to take it from here.
So a lot of times when you guys are out there, setting up your camera systems, and you run into a lot of situations where you just, it becomes difficult to run wire from point A to point B, or it takes too much time to get things connected. This is where wireless really comes into play. As you see, if it's too far, if you need to exceed, your Ethernet limitations, your 328 feet, obstructions, you've got things in the way, you got to go across a road, or you have to you have to hire a trencher, or go under a street, or things like this. Multiple locations. We can do point to multi-point, as well as just your point to point, far end, same location, and internet connectivity as well. I mean, we're not just transmitting video. Yeah, we can do data. We can do anything you want to use this link for. It's basically, we're extending your network from point A to point B. Distance, it needs to be line of sight. That's really critical. The basic equipment, we can go up to 6 miles with the standard nano stations, or the standard equipment. No building or tree obstructions. You just can't go through a building. If there's a tree in the way, sometimes you can kind of get away with maybe some really light trees, but even trees can become a problem. And so we have to really take in consideration when we're laying these things out. Applications, we've been installing these things on campuses, parking lots, taking and putting each nano station on a pole on a parking lot, sending it all back to the main building. HOA and communities, we're doing a lot of HOAs where we've got several buildings in the HOA, and we want to make sure nobody's dumping in our garbage cans, or transmitting the signal from the gate back to the office. All of those applications. It's just unlimited with the number of applications you can do. And what's nice about it is deployment. You guys can do this right away. You don't have to wait on hiring a company or a contractor, another party to go out and trench and cable and all those things. So it's a now solution. It's something that you can offer and have installed right away.
So some of the advantages of the Ubiquiti solution, of course, it's pre-configured. If you let us know when you're in the project planning stages, we can use a Google Earth image to get an idea of what we're looking at for distances and obstructions. We can configure that device with whatever IP scheme you want to use. Very helpful, again, following up to Wednesday's webinar, where you already have the IT staff on board. They're going to give you all the IP addresses and ports and everything that you're going to need for that. You can use just standard local IP addressing on this. And again, we will configure it for you. All the devices will come labeled of exactly what goes where. And literally, you take it out there and plug it in. It is very, very simple.
Yeah, and that's the big thing that we do here for you guys. We make it plug and play, make a plug and play solution. So if you guys, maybe some of you have used this equipment and some of you guys are doing this on your own, those guys that have gone through the trials and tribulations of going in, there's 1,000 check boxes in the setup on this thing. We've got a proven system that we put in the radios that makes it easy for you guys. We preload it, pre-configure it, make sure everything's linked up. Basically, all you guys have to do is plug your switches in on the ends, and you've got your network up and going. You point it at each other. The radios light up like a Christmas tree, tell you exactly, what's going on. There's literally no programming you guys have to do on your end. And it makes it real easy for you. And should you run into a problem, you also have somebody to call. That's the biggest thing that you go buy this piece of gear and there's no program in it. You have to program it. Well, guess what? When you have a problem, you have nobody to call or no support. So
one of the other things that's very cool about the Ubiquiti solution is that it's the same device for both ends. So your access point and your station are actually the same Rocket device or Nano device. So you don't have to buy separate gear based on what's at the head end and what's out at the remote location. So again, we'll configure everything for you. It actually has indicators on it to show you the strength of the signal. You'll know exactly if you're out of range or in range. Very simple to install. Basically, you just add power. All of the devices come with power supplies with them. You can plug it into local power and up you go. If you are doing remote locations, I know I just got done finishing a big Ubiquiti job for a humping camp, and they wanted to put cameras way out in the woods with the feeders for the animals. They use solar panels for that. The solar solution is amazing. We have 2 part numbers in our SKUs already for solar solutions, and of course, Rob Henry is very involved in that as well. So if you need solar, definitely talk to us about solar solutions, and we can provide a really powerful solution for you for that.
Yeah, and these are all new things that we're bringing on board here at IC Realtime. These products we haven't got quite on our website yet, and I know it's coming. Right now, these solutions, though, are available, and we have been doing them now for a couple years. So we have hundreds of installations out there. It's a proven system. We've done lots of testing on it, and you guys are our testimonials that, hey, it's been a big success. It's really been working well.
Absolutely. It does connect over standard outdoor rated Cat5, Cat6 Ethernet cable. There's really no proprietary cable that's used. Ubiquiti does have a product called Tough Cable, which is a special stranded cable that they encourage you to use. You can certainly purchase that on your own and use standard shielded RJ45 connectors for that as well. But it does work over standard Cat5, Cat6.
The reason they recommend their cable, Ubiquiti makes their own cable, is they have an outdoor cable that has one little extra copper wire in it. So instead of 8 wires, conductors, it has actually 9. But that little single strand of copper that they put in on their basic tough cable ties in with your shielded ends, and it eliminates all the static that can build up, or ESD, in that Cat5 when you're going outdoors to indoors, and it eliminates those power surge, lightning surges. The equipment is plastic, so it really don't draw lightning. So I, out of my experience in over the last 5 years, lightning has unless it hits the power supply on the other end, it actually has never come through the antenna side or the wire side. So they've got to kind of figure it out. If they use their shielded ends or any shielded ends and their tough cable with that drain wire, or you can go to the carrier class, which is a wire that also has a shield on it, outdoor rated. Again, it's a nice solution, and it'll eliminate your problems from the get-go.
Yep, we already mentioned some of the other advantages, the no need for trenching. If you've been out there in the summer sun, you want to avoid trenching at all costs. Obviously, fiber, a lot of our installers are coming from the surveillance or the AV world. They're a little worried about using fiber or hiring another fiber contractor to put that in. Of course, there's no need for router provisioning. We don't need to set up multiple networks or anything like that for you. Obviously, like we mentioned before, internet connectivity, VoIP, data services, there's a lot of stuff you can do over this fiber. It's a very, very high-speed connection. On the camera side, traditionally, we've been able to put high-end, high megapixel IP cameras on it with no problem at all. There's a lot of throughput on this.
You can basically think of your link as a 100 meg switch, and that's basically you got a switch inside of a building. If you know how to plug in a cable, a switch on one end, and run it and plug in another switch, that's all you're doing. You're just putting a bridge in between the switch. It transfers. We set everything up in bridge mode. Everything, you can have 10 networks, 10 different subnets on this. You can hand out DHCP requests. There's nothing that's going to block any of your traffic across this bridge. So it's wide open. It's low latency. If you want to VLAN it, you can. If you want to do QoS on your switches, you can. All those advanced options are there. But it just works. It performs so well.
Here's a great example here in the picture. You can see that we're using kind of almost like a metropolitan network. We're creating our own multi-location network over wireless. And again, doing that over a traditional network connectivity would be kind of a hassle. We're going to talk a little bit about the products that make up the Ubiquiti line. We're going to talk about the Nano, and you can see the part number there, the Rocket Titanium, and of course the antenna options. We also have a really cool backbone solution called Air Fiber. And again, just to reiterate on our project support, Rob Henry will, at the end of the webinar, give you his email address, and you'll be able to reach out to him directly. Obviously, you're still communicating with your inside sales rep. If your rep is working on a job, he's going to immediately walk over to Rob Henry's desk. I know I do about 20 times a day. Of course, again, we help with device configuration and, most importantly, installation support. We are proven in this. IC Realtime has been using Ubiquiti for about 3 years. We've got a great relationship with them. Our support in-house is amazing. We have several engineers on the help desk that are already trained in Ubiquiti. And of course, Rob Henry is certified in Ubiquiti. He's actually been to their formal training. So it's nice to have that solution for you. Keep in mind that this is a very private and secure network. This isn't a public Wi-Fi. We're not opening this up for hacking or for problems with people logging into your cameras. Literally, this is creating a secure connectivity between your two locations or your multiple locations. And again, AirMax is the actual operating system that Ubiquiti uses. It's a very, very secure platform. You're not going to have any problems with compatibility with our recorders or our IP cameras. It'll pass through that information very safely, very securely. So if you're working in an IP network, for example, you've got multiple IP cameras in multiple locations, like the parking lot example, you just basically are putting a wireless access point out there. From there, you can run your Cat5 up to 300 feet to where your camera is. The camera doesn't have to be on top of the wireless access point, but traditionally they are. A lot of times you'll have a pole with your camera, your pole mount, and the Ubiquiti device all there. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about products. The first product we're going to introduce is the entry level. It's the Ubiquiti Nano, and Rob can take it from here.
Yeah, the Nano Station is probably the most popular radio we use. There are newer products out there, the newer AC, so on. But the AirMax solution has been proven. It's interference it's not prone to interference. All of our links and all of our programming and the way we set everything up, WPA2 with AES encryption on it. So I know some of the older encryption stuff, when you start talking Wi-Fi encryption, WPA, and they talked about how it could be broken and stuff like that. But we're using the latest encryption methods. So all of our links are secure. The Nano Station, again, we're using the 5 gigahertz frequency. They do make it in 2.4, but as you guys know, if you've worked in Wi-Fi or anything, the 2.4 frequencies have just gotten so noisy with all the equipment out here lately. Even the 5 gigahertz range, we adjust our channel width. We make it invisible to other networks. We take that extra precaution, and on the programming side, and in range, these little, you can go from a nano station 6 miles easy line of sight as long as they're pointing at each other. It's amazing the power and what these things can do. All the devices come standard pole mount. You either use like a little J mount. It looks like a little miniature satellite dish mount. They make mass standoffs. It's no different than mounting a TV antenna back in the day, or a tripod, anything, a piece of 1.5-inch conduit. You can mount, pole mount these things right on. Every radio comes with its own injector, a 24-volt DC injector. So always make sure you guys always use their included injector at 24 volts. I've had people try to plug them into a switch and they end up burning them up. You need to power these things through their PoE, and then link the injector to your switch through the LAN port. So
another real advantage of the Nano is the size. It's about the size of your TV remote control. It really is a very small, compact unit. So again, if you're mounting it onto a pole or mounting it out into a parking lot area or into a park, it really doesn't take up very much room. It's actually kind of attractive looking. It's not like you're mounting a big antenna dish or something on the device. Let's go ahead and move on to the next product in our line, which is the Ubiquiti Rocket. This is definitely our point-to-multi-point solution, and Rob can go ahead and take it from here.
Again, the Rocket, it's designed to handle multiple clients. These have been used. You can actually use them in a Wi-Fi situation. We wanted to create a huge Wi-Fi network. I've had like small events where I wanted to set up just a quick Wi-Fi and get a whole bunch of people logging into just an application that I was doing at a small event. This little Rocket, you can have up to over 100 clients on it, and all pulling data fine. It balances all that out. We use it in the point-to-multi-point situation. Say you have 10 different buildings and you're coming back to one central point. You take one Rocket. If we start loading that 100 meg link up, we may put in 2 or 3 of the Rockets and access points, and then we can load balance your network and make sure we're not getting anything overloaded. And that's all the things we do here for you. We look at the load, we determine your distance, and we pick the right equipment for you, pre-program it, and get it all set up for a good solution for you.
Now, unlike the Nano that has the antenna built in, the Rocket will require an additional antenna. And those come in 90-degree or omnidirectional or a full 360-degree view. So if you have locations that are spec'd around your central location, we do have the antenna for that as well.
Right. We carry three different antennas. The Omni, which gives you the 360 degrees, or you can do the sectors. You can do the 90, or you can do the 120 degree sector or the 90 degree sector. We also have what's called little nub antennas. They're like it's just a small 5 dB. It's about 6 inches tall, and it screws right on top of the rocket. And those are good under 1,000 feet. So if you got something real short distance and you need point to multi-point, we can do it with little nub antennas as well.
Now, we've also used that a lot in our Icebox, which is our NEMA-rated recorder station. We'll use the nubbies on the top of that, so we can actually put the rocket inside the box in the weatherproof environment, and then have the little nubby stick out the top to give you full control and full access. So this has a lot of extra solutions to it. And
speaking of outdoor, all of their equipment, all of these radios are meant to be outdoors too. They're outdoor rated. They're designed to be outdoors, and I've had equipment up in the field over 5 years now. So they are work well, and they withstand the elements. One thing I would like to stress when you guys are installing this stuff, back to the cable, when you guys get done putting your ends on your cable, make sure you test that cable with your cable testers. Make sure all the pairs are where they're supposed to be, and you don't have anything crossed up, no shorts. Make sure you have a good cable run before you plug your equipment in, because it can short them out, and it can wipe the program out. It can do strange things. So make sure your cable checks good before you plug that cable in.
Well, finally, we're going to talk about Ubiquiti's Air Fiber, which is an amazing point-to-point. If you're connecting to at a very long range, maybe you're going out to 15 miles or so, this is your go-to. The Air Fiber we use in kind of extreme commercial cases or very long-range cases. And again, it's a point-to-multipoint solution.
The Air Fiber has many options. Ubiquiti's really taken this to the next level. They've the engineers that I just got to tell you a little bit about Ubiquiti engineers when they came out and they designed this. A couple of the guys used to work for Motorola, kind of split off and designed this thing in Colorado, and they come up with this thing, and it's just amazing, the radio and what it can do. But they came out now. They've got 5 gigahertz, 10 gigahertz, 24 gigahertz frequency Air Fiber units. The 24, for example, the 24 gigahertz frequencies, the Air Fiber, we're talking fiber speeds now. So we're at 1.4 gigs, so 1400 megs per second, and this thing can move some data across it. We just did another Air Fiber link for a hospital. They had a remote client office that they needed to link into their main hub, and so we put in the Air Fiber 5, and we're getting 500 to a little over 500 megs going down that pipe to that remote location.
Pretty amazing.
So it is amazing, and again, we help you pick this equipment out. We pre-program it, make it plug and play. You mount the equipment, plug your equipment in, and you guys are done again.
So here's a good example of a traditional setup with the IC real-time camera system. Your recorder and a couple of cameras are at one location. You have an outdoor location or a separate location with IP cameras. Literally, you're just plugging everything into your switch. You're utilizing the backbone of the wireless access between the two. It's very, very simple. Your NVR will see those cameras as if they were on the same network, in the same location. And again, this will span out over many miles. Again, this is perfect for multi-point. It's perfect for applications where you don't have any internet connectivity at the second spot. It's also perfect for great locations where maybe you have a very long building that's too far to run regular Ethernet cable, and maybe too far to even run fiber. You now have a great solution for that backbone. Are there any questions before we wrap things up? Cool. I love a Friday without questions. Let's go to the last slide here. Again, I want to thank you guys very much for your valuable time. I want to thank Rob Henry for joining us. Rob, we do have a question.
Yep.
What about indoor stations where you can't wire it easily? Yeah, that's a great question. Rob, you want to handle that one?
Sure. A couple ways you can do that. Again, you can indoor situations. You can still do the point-to-point, the 2 nano stations. Really great power. I mean, it's even though you're indoors, it works perfect where you can't get that wire from point A to point B.
And it's not going to electrocute you, and it's not going to give you gamma rays or anything like that, turn you into a spider. So
yeah,
it's very safe connectivity.
And again, your indoor situations are going to be unique, though. This is totally different from. This is not your Wi-Fi.
No obstructions.
This is not your typical access point and a Wi-Fi camera.
Yeah.
We are connecting any IP camera over a dedicated wireless network back to your recorder. So we are leaps and bounds from Wi-Fi. This the power, the quality, the latency don't even compare.
The obstructions on this, again, think about like a traditional home wireless system. It depends on what your construction is. Obviously, if you've got concrete walls, it can obstruct the signal. If you're working with just drywall, probably not so much. I know I just recently did a large warehouse. It was a huge warehouse, and what we actually ended up doing was going outside the building with the wireless, basically put an Ubiquiti on the far end of the building on the roof. We put another one on the near end of the building on the roof, and basically send that signal all the way across. And there really were no obstructions on the roof side.
Yeah, and I've got some really good examples that where I've been in a building with this equipment, and it's going through CBS concrete and walls, but the best thing to do is it's really easy to test. You set up an access, you set up your 2 nanos, you walk around the building, look at the back of the nano, look at your signal strength, and you're going to know right away whether you have a problem or not. It's really easy to troubleshoot.
Awesome. Well, again, I want to thank you guys very much for joining us today. If you need to reach me to schedule a private webinar or with more questions, I am Patrick at icrealtime.com. Rob is special. He's got a special email address, and his is?
Yep. Email address, get a hold of me, Rob Henry, ROBHENRY, at icrealtime.com. You can call and ask me. I'm in technical sales here, so if you guys are interested in getting a kit, we have some kits, just a little point-to-point. I've had a lot of dealers says, well, why don't I get one out here and try it? So we'll set up a kit for you, stick an antenna up on your roof, get a little power inverter, stick it in your van, drive around the block, and you'll be amazed at what you can do and how far you can go with your signal.
Outstanding. If there aren't any other questions, I will go ahead and close it out. Again, we have recorded this webinar. It'll be on the IC Realtime YouTube page. It will also be available very soon on the IC Realtime. Our entire series will be there. Again, we will have this webinar at 4 o'clock this afternoon. If you had any contacts or any relations that would like to benefit from learning a little bit more, maybe some of your installers or some of your project managers, please have them join us this afternoon at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And with that, I want to thank Rob Henry for joining us today, and I want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your busy Friday to join us as well. So thank you so much for joining in on the IC Realtime webinar series, and we will see you at the next one.